I will tell you some stories of perplexity. One thing that we got the players to do was we had Violet had to go and get access to a book in a walled off, in a sort of separated off section of the library. She was a librarian, but there was a section of special collections which nobody was allowed access to, we said, unless they were a published author already in Perplexity. So, what was going to happen here? Violet then said to the players of our game, you have to help me, you guys have to write a book, and then I can get it published here, and then I'll be a published author. And they went and they did it. I'm going to find it quickly on Google. If I can't find it, don't worry. But they all got together and they wrote stories. They called it Tales from Earth. It's available on Lulu. It took them about 10 days for all of our players to get together and each of them write about 3,000 words. Tales from Earth. Came out rather lovely. I mean, most of the stories are terrible, but I think they would acknowledge that too. And for a lot of our most involved players, for the people who really wanted to be kind of showing that they were heavily involved in Perplexity, even though, I mean, not everybody could go and dig up the cube. You know, not everybody could go and get the money. Not everybody could. Even get to the place that it turned out to be buried, but anyone who really wanted to be involved and who wanted, as Tim was saying, to have something physical to say, I was involved in this project, I was really serious about it. So I believe they've sold more than 1,000 copies of this book, which is presumably just to people, you know, their friends and relatives who want to be able to go, look, my friend's in a book. So that was one rather lovely thing that we did. There was also a character called, where is she? Anna. Anna was an academic. She was a mother of 3. She started off being very sceptical about whether any people from Earth could ever solve this tremendously difficult mystery, but ended up being very helpful to the players. And then, of course, you know, if you have a character that everybody loves and you know, you have pictures of her with her children, you have to kill them. So she ended up being murdered by the shadowy conspiracy that was that had been involved in stealing the cube. There she is with a pillow fight with her children. And when she died, our players folded 333 origami paper cranes and brought them to our office to express their regret at the death of this character. And it made me think, I mean, you know, we talk a lot about kind of getting people involved in the narrative, and of course people really want to be involved in the narrative, and they will find ways to do it if you show that you're open to that. I mean, I think of all these people kind of petitioning Parliament to have Deirdre Barlow released from prison. That actually, we love to pretend that these things are real. And you don't have to give people much space to be able to do it. And my final little story is about... It's about a... it's about Sylvia and Pietro Sulk. And the thing that happened to Sylvia, which is an example for me of the marvel, the wonder of getting your readers, your players engaged in your fiction. So, Pietro Sulk was a journalist who had been investigating this shadowy conspiracy. You see, there was a shadowy conspiracy of people who had got together to steal the cube. He was a journalist who was investigating it. He was in touch with a lead who had been present on the night of the robbery and had been getting information from her, and she was telling him about what she knew about this robbery. And then Pietro Sulk was nobbled in order, presumably, to prevent him from getting the full story about what had happened on the night of the robbery. So then we said to the players, well, the players said, oh, well, we have to find his contact. We have to track down this contact, find this woman who knows about the queue, she knows what's happened. But of course, you know, the players are in the real world, and this woman is in Perplex City, and they don't have an email address for her. How can they get in contact with her? So they worked out where physically she was. They thought she was staying in a particular hotel room, and they arranged a meet with her. They said, we're going to send someone to meet with you. So at this point, we decided that we would leave a bit of open space in our narrative for the players to do something with it. And we thought, well, we'll leave it up to them to decide who they want to send to talk to this woman. Her name was Monica, was the contact. So we thought, okay. So we thought, well, probably they'll send Violet, who's the hero. Probably, you know, she's the one they've been talking to the most. Probably they'll get her to go and do it. Or maybe they'll send Scarlett, who's her plucky younger sister, reporter. Or maybe they send Violet's friend Kurt, who is a tech whiz. We thought, well, they're going to use one of these main characters. But no, what they did was to email Sylvia Sulk, Pietro's widow, who had already been blogging with tremendous grief. Her husband had just died. She was in terrible mourning. She was devastated. And they emailed her and they said, hi, you don't know us, but we want you to go to this place and meet this woman because she's going to be able to tell you why your husband died. So we went, oh, yeah, this is interesting. I didn't expect them to do this. But I thought, all right. So I sort of sat down and had a think about what I knew about my character, and I thought, well, I think this character would respond by saying, all right, she wants to know what's happened to her husband. But I knew what she was going to find when she got there. The players didn't know.